Welcome back to Talkville, folks. Hello, Tom.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for having me. Ryan?
Hi.
Good to see you. Ryan and I are tired today. But
Hello, Ryan.
We got a great guest today on the podcast, so you want to listen to this. You want to stay tuned. This is the Smallville Rewatch podcast. We're already in season 4. We're working our way up to episodes. We're in episode 74. You know that? Is that possible? Yeah?
I've seen 74 Smallvilles.
Well, I mean, we're in the 4th season, so 66, 67,
Oh my
70.
God.
So yeah.
Ryan just got depressed about himself. 74 hours of watching Smallville plus the podcast. This is what you're doing with your life.
We're doing it, though. We're forced to watch the show. Some have never seen most of the shows. That would be me and Ryan.
But we don't not enjoy it.
No, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have a good time. You know, Al texts me, and he heard our last podcast, and he was like, I think you guys all the time. I want to put you in stuff. And I was like, no, we weren't talking about you. We were just like talking about in general. Al, you gave us this part, you made our careers. And, Al and I were working on a project with Miles, and we just can't do it at this time right now. And then, but I was like, no, we love you. We love you, Al. Come on. We don't necessarily love this episode, but we love you. By the way,
But again, neither of us have been hired by them since the show. So just
we had to fit that in there. We got to mess with you, Al and Miles. We do. Look, patron is so important, and if you're a patron and you support the podcast, that's why we're here, and we love you and thank you. If you want to give back to the podcast, join Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/talkville. It's huge. It helps this podcast so much. And look, there's some more perks coming up. Bryce and I were working on an idea, and that is for if you're a top tier patron, we pick somebody who really knows the show, and we bring them on the podcast for like 5 or 10 minutes. And they talk about their favorite scene and whatever they want to talk about for that 5 minutes or so. So we bring in a top tier patron that comes on the Zoom, and we just think it's going to be great because a lot of times we skim by things or scan through things and we don't really talk enough about stuff, and because we don't remember. So anyway, we've got some great things coming for Patreon. We've also thought, people have suggested some sweatpants, and we're trying to work that out where we have Talkville sweatpants and some other stuff that we're working on. So we're trying to make Patreon even better. So if you want to give back, patreon.com/Talkville.
You also remind me that one of the most fun things we did was when we met with the patrons in Washington, D.C. We got to meet Raj, and I got to meet everybody.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
It was a blast.
He gave us a ride home.
Yeah, he did.
We get to see him again. We're going to DC soon. Hopefully we get to hang out with Raj
He'll be
again.
there. We're also going, we're going so many places, so it's exciting. And if you want to find any of this information, Cameo, cons that Tom and I are going to and doing Smallville nights and other things, go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum and just go to my link tree, and it's got everything there. So it's right there for you. Merch at the talkvillepodcast.com. It's flying off the shelves. People are loving it. We're always coming up with ideas. If you have ideas, like I said, we're listening. We always listen. We're malleable. If you didn't get a chance to call in our hotline, leave a question for this episode, make sure you do it for future episodes, and all that more and more in the show's description. But without further ado, let's get into season 4, episode 8. It's called Spell. Oh, briefly, I do want to mention, I said it before, but I have a new a puppy product for your dog's breath, Puppy Fresh Breath. Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. It's on Amazon. It really works. It's tasteless, odorless, and I use it on my dogs. And there's a picture of me and my dogs on the thing, but I had to mention it.
Have you tried it yourself?
People ask me that, and the answer is yes. No, I haven't, but I will. I'll do it today. I'll see if it works on my breath. I mean, if it's good enough for my dog, it's good enough for my dogs, and vice versa. All right, without further ado, let's get into season 4, episode 8. This is called Spell. All right, Spell aired November 10th, 2004. Director Jeannot Schwartz, who we love, little French guy. Michael, quit goofing around. We have to get this done. What is he, from Transylvania?
I think it was such a gift that Jeannot was given this episode to direct, because I remember the actresses working really hard to try to, make this work because it's so ridiculous in many ways. And Junot would have been this calming force that probably kept everybody in it,
A director's job sometimes, or all the time, is for you to believe what you're saying, believe what you're doing, and deliver. And it's easy on a show like this to just go, whatever, not care, and just it's all fluff.
Right.
But it was watchable at times, and it looked good, and all the actors gave it their all.
I also felt as kind of weird it was at times and out of quote unquote character on purpose. I thought the story was actually layered pretty well. Like I was kind of like, what's going on? How are they going to get out of this? Who's who? Who's Jason? Who's his mom? All these other things. So it's
building up to something that we hope is impactful. Writer was Stephen DeKnight, who I love. Stephen is a friend, and he's directed episodes, and I really I love Stephen. Guest star William Taylor as Mr. Jacobson, Mark Akeson as Magistrate Wilkins, Lisa Gilchrist as Madeline Hibbins, Melanie Papaglia as Brianna Withridge. The synopsis is: a blast from the past sends Lana, Chloe, and Lois on a possessed mission for the Stones of Power, leaving their friends and classmates maimed and tortured in their wake. And it gets right into it, doesn't it? I like the flashback where it's like, you got that guy with the teeth, the long face, and, he's going to put them up there to hang. And, we see the woman in the back of the carriage, and she's got the thing over her face. We knew it was KRISTIN. I mean, how could you? I mean, you noticed KRISTIN. Did you notice it was her?
I was just distracted that nobody was speaking French.
And subtitle it? I think it's too much work to put into an episode like this. It's like, okay, wow, they had to do that for this episode? Yeah, I don't know. I've had to learn German before, but...
Well, everyone had an English accent, so I guess it vaguely European. Great.
The episode starts in France during the 1600s, over 400 years ago, and we see three women, Countess Margaret Isobel Thoreau, Madeline Hibbins, and Brianna Withridge, preparing to be burned at the stake for witchcraft. Isabel reassures the other two that they will rise again to finish their quest before they get sent to the pious flames.
The flames.
Before they get sent to the flames, Isabel gets backhanded and withholds knowledge of the three stones of power. We see her cast a spell onto a symbol identical to Lana's present-day tramp stamp, and then they get burned. So the Kryptonians first made a pit stop in France? What does this mean? Was Napoleon super? By the way, it rained for 11 hours the day of the opening shot. Super muddy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That's brutal.
That was DVD commentary. We talked about that.
Oh, man.
But, it was a little...
Well, it was the era
I
was
do
the same
remember
as the
that now.
Salem witch trials, wasn't it like 1600s?
Yeah, Salem witch trials.
Also, I mean, I guess going back to the cloak, a little bit Handmaid's Tale-y.
A little Handmaid's Tale.
A little bit women getting burned at the stake.
Are you saying they stole this from us?
I'm saying it's a symbol of some kind.
Oh.
Back in 2004, we see Lana and Jason enjoying a night by the fireplace. Lana is showing off a recent eBay purchase, the spell book from Isobel. The two start to put the pieces together as they notice the imagery in the book. When Lana flips to the page that Isobel cursed, she touches the tramp stamp symbol. This sends the flames roaring and a pink haze over her body. With newfound mysterious confidence, it appears Lana is possessed.
I like the fire where it blew up and Jensen kind of, Jason Teague kind of, whoa! I wonder if that was him. And I loved actually KRISTIN's eyes going sort of blue and that thing. So that was a cool effect in her look. But, the first thing I thought of immediately was like, oh, crap. Just like, this is the episode. This is what we're going to deal with for the next 50 minutes. But again, the actors are committing. It looked cool. And, I don't have to say too much about that, but it was a cool effect. And I thought it worked.
Well, I'll also say that if you watch Jensen in this is a great precursor to what you saw for years on Supernatural, is him really sort of being in the scene because he's being very understanding from what Lana's saying, which is so bizarre what she's saying, but he's in it, he's believing the paranormal and whatnot. And you see that in Supernatural for 15 years later.
Commitment, right?
Yeah. All right.
That should be the name of this episode, Commitment.
Commitment.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's good. The next day, Lois shows up at the Kents and enlists Clark's help to host and prepare Chloe's 18th birthday party. Despite Clark's parents being out of town, he is hesitant to host, but Lois assures him it won't turn into Sodom and Gomorrah. Back in the Talon lot, do you want to talk about that or no?
The party?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask Michael how many house parties he threw at his parents' house in high school.
I threw one, and I waxed the floor that you weren't supposed to wax. Or I put this stuff on the floor afterwards, and it kind of ruined it, and I didn't know what to do. So I called, my mom had a cleaning lady, her name was Toothless Brenda, and Brenda was awesome, but she only came like once every couple of months when we could afford it or whatever, and she came and helped me out, and my parents never found out about it. But I remember my friend Nate had sex with a girl up in my room, and this other guy fooled around with a girl up in my brother's room, and I just was like all alone. It was just those four upstairs and me alone downstairs. So I was just like, oh, this sucks.
That's not a house party, by the way.
Well, I had like 15, 20 people over, but it wasn't a house party.
Okay.
Like this party in the barn. I mean, who takes their shirts off? I don't remember everyone's shirt off. Although the witches created this, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
It became a
you're gonna have
rave.
to pick up after I finish this.
Why?
Back in the Talon loft, we see new Lana whipping up potions in the kitchen. She makes her way down the recipe list and now needs the hair of 2 virgins.
These.
After plucking her own hair and putting us at ease with suspicions of her and Jason. Good one.
So wait a minute. Are we insinuating that Chloe and Lois are virgins?
No, we're insinuating that Lana and Jason have not done the deed yet.
I don't
By her
believe that.
adding
I don't
Lana's.
believe that.
The hair worked in the potion, so you have to now.
Wow, she's a real prude. Either that or she wants to wait and have sex with someone her own age.
Sorry, I just want to wait for someone my own age.
Could you imagine?
She set out to find another version. To her disappointment, Lois and Chloe pay a visit. She plucks Lois's hair, but it don't work.
So Lois is not a virgin.
Lois is not a virgin, is what we've established.
Well, we're finding out who's gotten laid and who hasn't here on Talkville today. And again, well, we know Lex has. We'll get into that in the next episode. Of course, Clark's a virgin. It might be dangerous for Clark to have sex. Like a power drill. Back at the Kents, we see Clark showing off his rapping skills. He gets interrupted by Lana, who spits some seductive game and gets close enough to Clark to pluck his super virgin hair. Ow! She attempts to cut it out with shears, but they break. Luckily, she explains it away in an attempt to add to a scrapbook for Chloe. Not weird at all. Clark's like, why didn't you just ask me? I would have given this to you.
Also, weird thing to ask for.
Weird thing to ask for.
I don't think, would you? If someone said, hey, I want some of your hair.
I'd give you one hair.
But at all?
Lex wouldn't.
But why?
Yeah, Lex would. No one's going to ask me for my hair.
It'd be funny if they did.
I don't
My
have hair.
back hair, you mean?
I'll take an eyebrow hair.
Does that mean, is that why he's definitely not a virgin? Because he doesn't have any hair?
You be the judge of that. Lana leaves to pay a visit to Lex, but luckily she doesn't need any more hair. Ha, ha, ha. Joke's already said, Bryce. She finds him shredding some Schubert on the piano and asks Lex to hook up the miners with booze for the party. At first he objects, but then offers Merlot from France. He actually offers a Riesling, a light Riesling, I believe. But then he does give her the Merlot that she wants. While he's fetching the
Party
bottle,
time.
Lana gets enraged when she finds his map to the Stones of Power, which is displayed in the center of the room for some really stupid reason.
Well, for the last 4 or 5 episodes, it's been in the center of the
That
room.
thing needs to be put away. Come on. And it got stolen before, so you don't think he'd have it right there in the open. She casts a spell to make the map disappear, then uses some purple finger blast to put Lex into a trance, forcing him to play piano endlessly. Maybe we should have a t-shirt with Lana the Witch throwing a purple blast out. I don't know. You guys be the judge.
What I really liked about this scene in The Office was how you played this intrigue with Lana without just blowing it out of the water, being like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? You could see Lex really sort of enjoying the side a little bit.
He was like, I don't know this side of you. Something's up, but I kind of dig it. What do you want? Sex with Lex? Too young.
There's your t-shirt.
Sex with Lex?
Philander with Alexander?
Hander for Alexander?
No.
Slander. Talkville is brought to you by AG1. There's a reason we keep talking about AG1. It's because it helps us and it helps people every day. For me, Tom, I talk about this ad nauseum, but for those of you who haven't heard this, it's so easy. Instead of taking all these vitamins every day, I just have a glass of water and I put 1 scoop in of AG1 and I mix it and it tastes good. And that's all I need. It's got probiotics. It's got all these great things, prebiotics, minerals, vitamins, your daily dose of vitamins. It's such a powerful habit that's also powerfully simple. It's something that I think everybody should do every morning. And if you're trying to change your lifestyle and your routines, AG1 is absolutely where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. This is one of the easiest things to talk about. You and I were just in North Carolina, and Donovan, who we both know, pulls out AG1, and she's like, we're like, hey, you like it? She's like, I love this stuff. It makes you feel good.
It's just easy to sell. It's like we don't have to because it's something that I use constantly. I take it.
Yeah.
You know, look, taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should be at least simple. That is AG1. And that's why for the last how many years, Tom and I have been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just 1 scoop mixed in with water once a day, every day. And it helps me feel focused, gives me energy. I just feel like I have to have it. That's because each serving of AG1 helps deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics. You know, many people were like, you need to take this vitamin and this vitamin, and you need to take a pre and probiotic. Well, now I'm doing it all in 1 drink. Look, if it's one product Tom and I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. And that's why we've partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1.
Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/talkville.
That's drinkag1.com/talkville. Check it out. This episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. You know, a lot of us wish we had more time, but time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you, so you could do more of it. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy can help everyone be the best they can be. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp.
Listen, learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/talkville today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/talkville.
Lana leaves to complete her potion. As she mixes it, she chants a spell that causes pink smoke to emit from the decanter. Chloe and Lois show up upon Lana's request, confused as to why they're meeting in the woods. Lana tells them she wants to toast to this special night. They drink from the potion and become possessed by the 1600 witches, Madeline and Brianna. Classic 17th century French names, Brights, notes.
Yes, and they also the DVD commentary, they discussed how Kristen was sick this entire episode, and at first it didn't even have a voice, so she probably had to loop a lot of that stuff. Yeah, that's interesting. But I like that the girls both did the same kind of back dip or whatever, the back.
Yeah.
You know, and it was what it was, and they were filled with the witch juice and ready to get in their evil ways.
Well, they kind of turned into, it's a little bit of it is a comedy bit. Like they sort of turn into it's almost like Hocus Pocus style. Like there's
Hocus
like
Pocus,
a little bit,
Witches of Eastwick. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a little bit.
They were being silly because
they were being silly with it.
I think this more serious they take it probably is I mean, they're playing it real, but they're also playing the comedy in it, which I think helps a little bit. But I don't know. I don't.
I also like that the three of them are also playing it a little different each. which helps.
They have their own thing.
Yeah.
The girls take a few beats to appreciate their 20th century bodies and gather their bearings of being in America before continuing their quests for the stones. In this scene, when revealing she's known about the party this whole time, Chloe claims that nothing gets past her except Clark Kent, of course. Back at the party in Clark's barn, former coach and faculty member Jason shows up to await the girls' arrival. He understandably is pissed at Clark, who he assumes had a hand in him being fired. And as they talk, the three girls enter the party in a very Hocus Pocus fashion.
Yep.
In the DVD, the girls talk about how they had fun laughing about how they look like a girl band and how ridiculous this was. They did. They actually did.
I mean, they really did. They were very done up.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of three shots. I don't know if you noticed, Tom. Like, there's like a lot of like the three of them standing and posing together. Like, it was very music video-y or like superhero-esque.
They should have shot a music video there. I bet you could put a video together with that. You know, they should have sang. What song would they have sung? Witchy Woman by the Eagles.
Magic Man.
I'm a magic man. All right, go ahead, read.
Did they play song? What was the song playing when they walked in? I didn't
Something
catch
I didn't like.
Just something background.
All right, at this party, Lois takes a pass at Clark and Lana throws shade at Jason. Before they continue their quest, the witches decide to have a little fun. One finger blast spell later, the party is pumping. Attendants have stripped their clothes and are bumping and grinding as the tunes rage on, including a very uncharacteristic fist-pumping Clark. It's like everybody is on E.
Tom, any behind the scenes in this one? Do you remember anything? How long did it take? Was it fun?
Yeah.
Was it fun, comfortable? What was going on?
Listen, we were all kind of like, all right, this is going to be ridiculous. You guys in? And they're like, yeah. And so we did the first take, and I remember I was dancing on the stairs with the girls, and Jeannot was like, cut, Tom. And he comes in and his headphone cans are like disheveled and he's got a little food on his face.
Yes, always.
And he's looking up at me and he goes, Tom, you're dancing too good. Mix it up. And I was like,
my God.
Okay. And I kind of looked at Allison and I was like, Allison, how do I dance bad? She's like, I don't know. And then I think I don't forget what she said to me, but she said something just like, just go off beat, kind of like Elaine on Seinfeld in a way. She goes, just don't be on beat. And then it turned into that stuff. I don't know.
I think Jeannot's been 85 for his whole life. The next morning after the rager, Clark answers a call on his cell phone from his parents in Metropolis and shares the bad news about blowing a visit from recruiter from Princeton, which was really weird.
Hold on, the recruiter from Princeton. I love this because it reminds me of Risky Business. Remember that Tom Cruise movie where he throws the party and he's got all that stuff going on and the guy comes from, I think it might have been Princeton, to interview him.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? That was a great movie.
Clark goes to Lex for a favor with the recruiter and is shocked to find his kind friend reenacting a scene out of Whiplash, playing music bloody and sweaty. Clark rescues his friend and learns that Lana's behind it. I remember that, the director's like, Michael, you've been playing this piano for 24 hours. I'm like, then I should look exhausted. My eyes should be like really watery and just, and so I got myself worked up to just look kind of completely out of it. But that was interesting. I asked Natalie to blow some of the glycerin in my eyes to make me kind of watery and burning and like my eyes just glossy and the blood on the hands, and I had that crazy look on my face again. I wanted that because I'm just like beside myself. I'm like just out of it. Over in the town, Lana gets angry at Jason for going through the spell book. She makes threats to him and says, "Stay out of my way," and reveals that she is Countess Margaret Isobel. Lana force throws him across the room and begins choking him out. Clark barges in to save the day and is forced to super speed outside to catch Jason, who gets thrown through the second-story window. And as he holds his ex-coach, he reads a burn message that says, "The barn, midnight." I really liked that you went out and caught him. That was a cool scene. That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth.
Yeah, because Jason is mad at him because he still thinks he fired him, and it was a nice thing for Clark to do.
Yeah, Clark, good save.
Is he heavy? Was Jensen heavy?
What we used to do with those things is there'd be an initial thing, but then when you get into the close-up and stuff, most likely there's something that most of his body weight is on, so that you can actually play the scene as opposed to going.
Right? Is he either on hooks or like a wire, or is it maybe like a stunt guy?
Like a seat that he's probably sitting on. Once I catch him, there's probably something. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Clark heads to the barn and is greeted by the three witches. They begin casting spells and kicking his ass.
Hakuna Matata, le faso.
That's the Lion King.
Yep,
After witnessing Clark's magic heat vision protecting himself, Lana chokes him out and becomes determined to rid him of his power by casting a spell over his chest.
Anyone know why they're picking on Clark in particular? I don't think he did anything in the episode to warrant them stopping their quest to start kicking his ass.
He's interfering, I think, is the best I can come up with.
I guess that will do.
This is something which I'm sure Bryce probably knows more about this, but in the Superman, like, comic books and things, magic is a thing. And later we're going to meet Zatanna in a couple seasons. And apparently magic does have this thing, which Clark is now first understanding has an effect on him beyond just kryptonite.
Yeah. I don't know who Katana is, but that's okay.
Katana's from Mortal Kombat. It's Zatanna.
Oh,
She's
Zatanna?
a magician.
Does she wear like a top hat and have like coattails and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
She's a magician, yeah.
The witches tie shirtless Clark up by his wrists inside his barn. When he awakens, they begin questioning him for the location of the stones of power. Lana decides to kiss the information out of him. After locking lips, a pink cloud emits from Clark's mouth, followed by a whisper that reveals location.
The witch teleports away, and Jason wanders into the barn to get Clark down. He offers help and gives Clark the 411 on Lana's possession and the spell book.
Just Tom being tied up there for so long. I don't know. It was a little.
I mean, that was another. I remember Jensen walking in maybe in the rehearsal, and I was up there. He walks in, he just kind of looked at me, and he goes, "Well."
Yeah.
So we both kind of laughed and got it over with, and then we just.
Did you ever fight with them and just be like, guys, my shirt's always off. This is ridiculous.
Well, actually, I did, because I always kind of told them that Clark wasn't a guy who takes his shirt off. Lex is, but Clark isn't. So that got me out of a lot of it. And I would always be like, if the shirt's off, you gotta make sure there's a good reason for it. We're not just gonna walk around with shirts off. Like,
well, the reason is
Clark's
it's
not that
sexy
guy.
and it's steamy, McDreamy, steamy Kent.
Well, it's funny you say, because the look that you give when Jason walks in the barn is very much like, I promise it's not sex stuff. It's just
The witches head into the Kawachi caves and begin chanting a spell to open up the crevice in the cave where one of the stones of power resides. Hakuna Matata. They enter the fortress and observe the one stone on the table. Lana reaches for the stone, but it's stopped as Clark cocks a shotgun. She grabs the stone, but quickly drops it after it burns her hand. Clark picks it up, and suddenly all his powers come coursing back into his body. How? Why? What? Their centuries-long quest was for something that they can't even obtain?
how like life.
I guess.
So it was all for naught. It was all for... So they do this because... Yeah,
They're not worthy.
Call Al?
They're not worthy, apparently.
No, I don't think Al wants to talk about this episode.
You don't think?
I don't know. Let's see. Hey, Al, I'm leaving you a voice message. Why, in Spell, the witch's century-long quest was for something that they can't even obtain, like the stone that burns their hand. I know it wasn't made for them, but I mean, what was their whole quest then? Do you even remember? I know you're trying to forget. Thank you. See what he says. With his powers back, Clark uses heat vision to burn the spell book, which sends a flash throughout the room and depossesses the three girls from the witches that inhabited them. When everyone comes to, Clark tells the girls that they haven't been themselves lately. The DVD commentary, the girls joke about Clark waking up and only caring about Lana's well-being while Lois and Chloe are right there. Good Lord.
That is.
You only have a one-track mind, son.
Back at the Kents, Clark is greeted by his parents and a brazier, forced to try to explain.
What I loved about this, we always rave about Annette. I love when
Great response.
when she responds.
Great.
Where she's just like, I bet it was. Like the way she did it was like
She had
perfect.
no lines, and she nails that scene comedically, and she's present, and she's awesome. I noticed that too.
Forced to try to explain hosting another party while they were gone. They're A-okay with extraterrestrial super beings when it comes to witches and spells. Jonathan is a little skeptical of his son.
He is, but he's like, Dad, they were able to control me or something.
Yeah. It was funny how he was like, witches. Come on, my alien stepson. Adopted son.
Witches? What?
That's where I draw the line.
But hang on, exactly. It's like you can believe in all these things that are going in Smallville and your son's Superman, but you can't believe that there are witches out there. There's other people from other planets talking to you via some device or ship, but you can't believe which. Get your priorities straight. Over at the town, we see Lana cleaning up some of the witchcraft. Lex pays a visit and gets a much-needed apology. And after hearing her monologue of confusion about Clark's selfishness, Lex responds by telling her that it was he who got Jason fired, not Clark. Lex was not cool with the high school relationship.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, he wasn't cool with the high school relationship and wanted to protect her. And Lana responds by saying that was none of your business, Lex. DVD, Jeannot, who directed it, reveals that there was a draft in the script where Isobel never left Lana's body and stayed around. It was scrapped because they didn't want her character trapped by that story arc, nor did anybody watching the show.
Lana leaves and goes to pay a visit to Clark. She apologizes, and Clark lets her know that Isobel was aggressively sexy. Lana tries to explain what's been going on over the last several months by flashing her tramp stamp. Clark recognizes the symbol but hides any knowledge on what it could mean.
I was surprised that the tramp stamp was still there. For some reason, I just thought it would have gone away with Isobel. Maybe that was their way of having it maybe possibly linger and maybe bring Isobel back.
Yeah. Also, I thought the tramp stamp was a little bit cheesy. I thought they could have made it a little bit better. I just never really liked it. I thought, it's kind of like, I feel like I can get that at any Halloween gift store or something.
It's too bad Clark couldn't be honest with her, because he'd be like, hey, listen, I can shoot lasers out of my eyes. Maybe I can remove that.
That's true. How about some laser work?
Just the alternate universe where Clark just does tattoo removal in Beverly Hills.
Oh my God, that's his new career. The episode closes with Lex shining a light to the same symbol in the caves. They had to suck going down into the caves for that one final shot. It sure did suck. There's so much dust and shit in there. I couldn't wait to get out of there. But it was just one shot, so. Interesting things of note. In the DVD commentary, Allison reveals that Tom is actually a good dancer and was deliberately acting goofy during the party scene to make the girls laugh. Both KRISTIN and Allison were sick during the shoot. KRISTIN had a throat infection and was having trouble talking loudly. Allison had food poisoning. And this marks the 5th time Clark has lost his powers. The other losses occurred in Leech, Perry, Asylum, and Transference. KRISTIN, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good.
Your hair looks great.
I know. I mean, I'm at work. It's work hair.
Are you filming?
It's zhushy. Yes, I am.
Are you enjoying it?
I am. We just did 2 days. We're only 2 days in. Today's day 3. And it feels really fun. It's like, I don't know. It's really different for me, this job. So I'm enjoying it thus far.
Are you allowed to say what it is?
It always hits you on the 4th day.
Is it the 4th day, Tom?
Are you allowed to say what it is?
Yeah, it's a show called Murder in a Small Town. Ooh. It's for Fox. I think the only cast announced right now are me and Rossif Sutherland. But there are some really fun people on the show.
That's great.
Where are you filming?
In Gibson's. Which is like, do you know where it is? Yeah, it's so pretty. Like I'm in my cottage on the beach. Like my view is the ocean, and I'm calling it my vacation job.
Walk on the ocean. Hey, KRISTIN. So we told you we were doing this, and I didn't know if you were going to say nope, not talking about that one. But you watched it. You watched the episode Spell Again, and you said you thought it was hilarious.
It was so funny. Obviously it's funny for like a bunch of reasons, but I thought it was really, I laughed out loud multiple times. I thought everyone was funny. I thought it was so ridiculous. But it was goofy. And I think I get why audience people like it.
I know. I'm the only one that I didn't like it because I liked you guys, but I just thought it was so ridiculous. What are we doing with this witchcraft and shit?
I agree. I understand that, but I mean,
but it was fun. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not serious. Sorry, Tom, go. I keep cutting you off. Speak.
No, that's okay. You're our guest. We want to hear what you have to say.
Paul, now I don't know. Oh, what are you wearing? Looking so country.
What is that called?
Oh, thank you. My new bolo tie.
Bolo tie.
Hey, Kristen, say hello to Ryan. That's Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Talkville is brought to you by Good Chop. Guys, this is from experience. We only speak from experience. Good Chop is unbelievable. Good Chop offers fully customizable boxes of high quality meat and seafood delivered to your door on your schedule. I'm going to get into it, but I was at my friend's for the Super Bowl and I made 2 of the steaks and I brought shrimp and some friends had shrimp.
Well, they were like, you don't even shop. How do you have this?
Dude, these were the best. I'm not even kidding. I couldn't believe how good they were. I was like, all right, let's see how good this is. Good Chop is unbelievable. The products are vacuum sealed and frozen at peak freshness, so you can stock your freezer and cook when you want.
You can choose from over 70 high-quality cuts, 100% grass-fed ribeyes, USDA prime, filet mignon, my favorite, free-range and organic chicken breast, also my favorite, pork tenderloin, also my favorite, and thick-cut bacon, again, my favorite, just to name a few. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty... what's great about this company, Good Chop sources its meat and seafood exclusively from American farms and fisheries. So you can support local family farms and independent ranchers right here in the U.S.
And it won't cost a fortune. Good Chop's price per meal starts at just $3.74.
Good Chop especially prides itself on sourcing meat that comes with no antibiotics or added hormones ever, no artificial ingredients, only the good stuff. They are so confident in the quality of their meats that they're offering 100% money-back guarantee. Love Good Chop or get your money back. This stuff is delivered to your door. It's great meats delivered to your door so you don't have to go to the grocery store and pay a fortune. And I'm telling you from experience, it is delicious. Go to goodchop.com/talkville120 and use code talkville120 to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes. That's code talkville120 at goodchop.com/talkville120 for $120 off. goodchop.com/talkville120, code talkville120. What do you remember mostly about the first time you read this script and what your initial thoughts were?
Honestly, Michael, I don't remember reading the script, but I remember my first day on set for this episode was, I believe, the day with you at the piano. And Jeannot had said to me, she is like 1,000 years of sexuality. And I was like, I don't know what
I'm a child.
That means, but I am picking up what you're putting down. I get my assignment and I'm just going to be OTT with this. And I was.
Why? One of the things that I remembered is, and so often on Smallville, we would all kind of do a blocking and we'd all acknowledge how ridiculous what we were being asked to do was, and we'd all kind of make fun of it and we'd go, okay, let's dive in. And I do think that having Jeannot being the one to direct this episode really helped, because he just has this way of just, it's okay, I got you kind of thing, And yeah, I didn't know if you remember that, and we made fun of me dancing on the
Yes,
on the
I
thing.
had so much fun that day with you dancing on the stairs.
I noticed that, Kristen. You were like he was dancing and you were kind of dancing, even though you were doing this thing. And I was like, they're getting into it. They're just doing it.
Well, you can hear me laughing, and that's me. I'm just laughing at Tom. Just thought it was the funniest thing. But there were some of the stuff was so silly. Just absolutely. The dialogue I had was so bananas.
Well, every time in the episode when we watched it, every time you would speak your spells, Mike would just start yelling, Hakuna Matata. And what was all that?
It's Latin. It was all Latin. I had to learn the Latin words. and say them in a ridiculous episode of Smallville that, I don't know, it's so silly.
It was a
so
lot of
silly.
work. I mean, that had to be like and you were not feeling well. We looked on the.
I wasn't.
No. So imagine
know.
you were in every scene. You had this
It
crazy
looked like
dialogue.
you worked every day, every scene also.
I don't remember, I have a story about this that is not like you, it's all you boys, and you boys, I don't really need to, I feel weird telling you these stories, but I was very sick, I think. And Dr. Lim, who, by the way,
Love him,
is still the cast medical doctor here.
He's
I
a
saw
Dr.
him.
Lim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dr. Lim prescribed me with antibiotics, and they were really strong. And so the scene that we had, Tom, where you were chained up, I had this is maybe TMI, and maybe no one needs to know this, but I had for the first time in my life a horrible yeast infection, like horrific.
Oh my God.
Horrible, because the antibiotics so I was like so uncomfortable.
Well, that is some acting 101 right there. I mean,
I don't know how you did it, man. I don't know how you did it. I would have been like, hey, yeast and hell with I'm out. Because guys could get them too, supposedly, from women.
I didn't know.
I guess, yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Ryan, look it up. No, but like, I could just imagine. Do you remember Jeannot sort of giving you like, sexier, be more mysterious?
I do not. Did he do that?
I just feel like he would.
No, he gave me the initial instruction, and then I think I was fine with that.
You would do something, and he'd go, wonderful. Moving on.
He was lovely. I
was
did like
lovely.
working with him a lot.
Is he alive still?
We got to ask Glenn. Him and Glenn are buddies. We got to ask Glenn.
Oh, really? No, I was just going to say I'm working with our old script supervisor from the first 3 seasons of the show. Back then her name was Janet Monroe. Do you remember Janet? She did the first 3 seasons. Beth came in the 4th season. She goes by Ruby now, but yeah, she's our scriptie on this. But yes, sorry. That was
He stopped, I believe, after like Criminal Minds. He did an episode. He did 14 episodes of Smallville.
Oh, he did 14?
Yeah.
Well, we toward the end there, we had like 5 directors that we would use the same 5, and it was so nice that we were so familiar with them.
He directed
Right.
Supergirl.
I think he did.
He directed Supergirl, Jaws 2, Somewhere in Time,
Wow.
Santa Claus the movie in 1985. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. He was a talented guy, and I think people really
Beautiful.
like.
Yeah,
working
he
with
was
him.
lovely. He was a lovely presence on set, I remember.
Did you ever have a problem? Ever have a problem with what you were wearing?
You mean, did I hate it?
Yeah. Did you ever go, oh, I don't want to wear this. This is too.
Yeah, I didn't like that outfit.
No.
The skirt one?
Yeah.
It was meh. It was a meh outfit for me.
Did you think it was too trampy?
No, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked on me.
No. I didn't notice. I never noticed anything not looking good on you, Kristen.
Oh, that's so nice of you, Michael. But it didn't. It didn't look that good on me.
When you watched this episode, besides all the fun you had, was there anything you would go, oh my God, I don't want anybody to see this?
I don't know. It is embarrassing, but acting's embarrassing. I think part of acting is embarrassing. And that was something where we were just going as big as possible. And so I don't need anyone not to see it. I don't feel that way about it, really. There's nothing that horrific. But I don't know. There were some interesting things in that episode too. For me, because I'm not following the show. I have no idea what has happened at the beginning of season 4. Like I really have no clue. So I'm kind of jumping in going, it's interesting to watch like the relationship between Lana and Lex is already starting to develop. And like, there's all this kind of neat stuff that's like put in there that I thought was really interesting, apart from all of the chaos of witches in ridiculous outfits saying ridiculous things.
Yeah, how he's always Lex is trying to protect you, and he gives you the bottle of wine.
Yeah, the really very fancy. That's an expensive bottle of wine.
Is it? How much would that cost? Like hundreds of dollars?
Oh, probably way more, Michael. Like, I don't know if we realized back then, like a really nice bottle of wine that's aged like that could be like $10,000.
Oh,
like it could be so much. Like, and we never really like what Lex does there is a huge gesture for her. And he keeps doing these huge gestures for her. It's very, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But you can see that she's starting to rely on him and is very disappointed when he hurts her. And I thought that was interesting in that episode, knowing where it goes and knowing what's going to happen.
For so long, it was like sort of innocent. He's trying to look out for his friend. He's trying to do this. And then Clark blows it. And now Lex has this, I think, sort of underlying fascination with Lana Lang. And he's like, well, I'm not going to go there.
He wanted to help her go to Paris. He wanted, he helped her with the Talon. Like there's a lot of laying some foundation there.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it does get really interesting. I don't know really when that happens though, in Lex and Lana. That doesn't happen till like season 5 or 6.
It doesn't, but it starts laying the groundwork. The groundwork is already starting to be laid for that. And I can see that I'm already starting to process it in the scenes.
Yeah.
Like I know that it won't really shift until 6. I think 6 is the season it really changes.
Yeah. Well, we hope you come back for moments during the series like you have, just like, if there's a cool story. I knew that this episode would be fun to have you just to hear your take on it, because it was so ridiculous and it was so out of the ordinary for Smallville. It's like you've got this story that's sort of linear, that's sort of going in directions, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're in France and whatever year it was, and the whole episode is witches. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I think I even probably got from you, Kristen, during working with you is you're an extremely practical person and so creative that you're able to see, how can I be creative within this task that, like you said, that's being asked of me, and being practical in that this is what I'm here to do. And now I'm going to be creative within this. And, that's something that always impressed me about you. And Michael, obviously you did the same thing, but it was things that, especially early on, I was learning from you guys about that because you all had experience. And this is a perfect example of, okay,
we're doing this.
We're doing this, and I'm gonna do it in a creative way. And I remember you guys, we all kind of doing that, and I think that's what elevated the show.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I hope so. I mean, what was it like for you guys watching the episode? I mean, obviously you're doing a whole podcast on this, but
it came on, and I immediately go, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, the opening is bizarre.
It was just like, what is going on? Ryan's first thing was like, why aren't they speaking French? I'm like, they're not going to work that hard for the show.
I mean, you're in Canada already. I'm sure you knew French-speaking people.
West Canada.
It was all right.
The
British part of Canada.
Yeah, no, the French part of Canada is like Quebec and the East Coast-ish. So sort of like
I don't know. People knew French is all I feel.
They did know French. In fact, I believe that Kristen took some years of French.
Yes, until 12th grade.
They're required.
What do you know in French? Say something.
Oh God, why? What do I know in French? I know lots of words in French, but I can't just talk in French.
I just can't talk in French.
Can you say that in French?
Je ne peux pas parler en français.
There you go.
Hey.
We tricked her.
That's pretty good.
Just want to ask Kristen, do you like playing against Lana's like character type more? Like in this show, was that more fun for you? Because it looks like you're having more fun.
Yes. It was always more fun for me. Always, always, always. And I think also that's why I kind of watching it too, why I kind of glom on to the stuff with Lex, because she starts to change, her personality starts to shift a lot as she moves closer in that direction. And I think that was really fun for me. I actually think Lana was a hard character for me to play. I think it was uncomfortable in my body. So it was nice to start to flow out of it.
So much of Lana's character was waiting for Clark.
Yeah.
And being very just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I agree, this shift with Lex, she becomes more proactive. She starts swimming in the water a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, I think so. And she becomes less innocent. She sees the world in a darker way, which is more interesting, feels more grounded for some reason to play.
That it happens to everybody everybody who takes a semester abroad in Paris comes back and gets possessed by a witch, comes out of it a much stronger person.
Oh yeah.
Totally. I mean, witch possession is the way to growth, y'all.
What was it like working with Jensen for the most part? You've talked about this, but
Oh yeah. God, it was so fun. Watching that, I was like, Jensen has such a easy kind of chill, like he just is so cool. And so his performances are just really free and natural. And I think that was like nice for me to engage with, because the scenes that I have with you, Tom, are always every line, it means like 5 different things. And it's like a very methodical kind of, like it's different than the like looseness, and the looseness that his character had and that he naturally has was really, really fun to work with. And it was, I mean, Erica too, that she has the same thing. So like, there's like a breath, it just is alive again, which was nice.
What did you think of the tattoo shit? Did you hate the tattoo? Did you hate wearing it? Were you like, does it have to be there?
Oh, you mean like a tramp stamp?
Exactly what he called it.
Honestly, where else would it be? That was an easy spot to show it.
True. Very
like where
true.
You can put it on your arm, you can hide it or show it, and I don't have to like show that much skin to do it.
Yeah, anywhere else would be weird, I think.
Yeah, like what, on her ribs?
Maybe a Mike Tyson, you know?
Yeah, just like a good face tattoo.
Yeah, big face. Lana, what's that tattoo on your face? God, you're so pre-Tyson right now.
There's going to be this music artist that I like in the future called Post Malone, and we're all going to get into it.
It's all because of Lana Lang and her face tattoo. KRISTIN, this has been awesome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time. Good luck with the show. I know it's going to be great. You're going to be great. Have fun. That's the number one thing. And thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, time for the hotline. Boom, 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 boom. Right now we're going to do patron privilege. This is Heather and Greg, who we love. Heather and Greg.
Oh, yeah, they were in D.C.
Yep, we'll see them in D.C., I hope. We'll see a lot of you in D.C., I hope.
Hi, guys. This is Heather and Greg from North Carolina. Our question is about Season 4, Episode Spell.
So this episode was written by Stephen DeKnight, who did quite a few episodes of Buffy and Angel, many of which were related to witchcraft.
So we were wondering how you feel about him introducing magic to the Smallville universe and it becoming another vulnerability for Clark.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you in Concord.
I mean, my favorite part was what you guys just said, making fun of Jonathan. It all works because Jonathan's like, listen, my son, we don't believe in witches around here.
Yeah. I just felt like this was completely out of place, my opinion. I just felt like maybe it's a good payoff. We'll have to see. But like,
if they can control people like this, then when they were originally burned at the stake, why couldn't they control all those people? Was it the new potion that Lana made? Is that why they were able to control? I mean, I just kind of...
It's just sort of not a great storyline. So I don't know what else to say. Michael P. We love our Michael P. I have to pee, Michael P.
Hey, Talkville, it's Michael P. from Texas. In the episode Spell, at one point, we see Clark levitating and losing his powers to these trio of witches. I'm not afraid to admit it. I got a kick out of the scene. Tom, I'm curious if you can comment a little bit more on how that scene was made. Thanks.
I don't really remember. I'm sorry, Michael P. I just remember everybody during the rehearsals making fun of it all and then getting it out of our system and then being there to actually support each other. Because when your fellow actor is on camera and they're doing these things which they feel a little uncomfortable about, you got to really support them so they can get the job done. And I just felt like there was a lot of that, especially hung up like that, and I don't know, whatever.
Talkville is brought to you by Factor. I just called Brittany, Tom, who works with us over at Westwood One, and I said, I want to order Factor because they gave me a box and I loved it. And I'm not kidding. I'm like, I'm paying for this. Can they give me some kind of discount because I'm doing the spots? But I am paying for this out of my own pocket. It's that good. It's so convenient. I've made meals for my friends when they come over. They can't believe it's that easy. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. Seriously, 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from every week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons to help you stay fueled up and feeling good all day long. What are you waiting for? Get started today and get after your goals.
Listen, they got pancakes, they got smoothies, and more. You can discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more.
No prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or clean up needed.
Flexible for your schedule. Get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime.
Factor is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. Sign up and save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Let me tell you, I spend a fortune on delivery services for food, and Factor is like, I get all these meals for probably a meal or two of what I spend in delivery. It's insane.
If you're anything like Michael, head to factormeals.com/talkville50
and use code talkville50 to get 50% off. That's code talkville50 at factormeals.com/talkville50 to get 50% off.
Ville, it's Ginger Moose from Richmond, Virginia. When Isobel resurrects her fellow witches, was there any talk of modeling their acting after the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus? This episode aired about 9 years after the film came out, and there were definitely some similarities in character traits between the two sets of witches. Did y'all notice that? Thanks for all the hard work that goes into this podcast. I appreciate y'all.
Ryan did. Ryan noticed that.
Yeah, it's like a goofy trio, and then one of them is like, I guess they assigned some ditziness to like one of them. Like there's like one who's like just sort of clueless, and there's one who's like, you idiots. And it's like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it definitely was that. Here we go. Who's this? Scott?
Hey guys, Scott from Mississippi. At the party scene, I just wanted to say it's nice with all of Kal-El's amazing abilities that when it comes to dancing, he's still just a regular white guy with no rhythm. Love the show, love the podcast.
Yeah, well,
a regular drunk frat guy.
I agree with you. Here's John.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Michael. This is John from Santa Clara, California. Just had a question about season 4, episode 8, Spell. When Lex falls under the spell of playing the piano for, I guess, 24 hours, how is it that nobody in his staff noticed that he was doing that? Like, Clark had to come and save him, versus you think someone in the staff would hear that piano
I know
playing.
the answer.
So just wondering that.
I know the answer.
Podcast. Bye.
You want to know my answer? It's because he had a sign outside. I'm rehearsing. I'm practicing. Don't bother me under any circumstances. Because you see someone walking there, Mr. Oh, never mind. Mr. Luther, would you like your lunch? No response. Okay. Moving on. Courtney.
Oh, John, I went to school in Santa Clara.
You did?
I did in Santa Clara, California.
Hey y'all, this is Courtney Gray in Douglasville, Georgia. My personal favorite from this episode is the shirtless and spilled Clark dancing with Lana and Chloe in the barn in front of the Princeton rep. I think you guys mentioned before that no music is actually playing when filming things like that, but honey, Clark is vibing. So it's music selected that matches whatever moves the actor's making. Also, when you're performing things like that, do you have a song playing in your head? Okay, love you guys, and the show needs more Bryce. All right, bye.
I will say, you go ahead, but I just wanted to say, they usually play the music before and then they action, so we get a kind of a beat. I wish that they would stick to the tempo of a song, because a lot of times they put something else in and you're like, oh my gosh, why am I dancing? I'm dancing. It looks ridiculous. So, but go ahead, Tom.
I just in listening to her, I got a flash of Steve Oben before that scene in the trailer. There was a pair of the blue boxers, and then there was like a pair of briefs next to them. And I remember calling Steve over to my trailer, and I'm like, Steve, I'm not wearing these briefs. They want me. I was like kind of like getting a little freaked out. I'm like, I'm not wearing those. He goes, no, Tom, you put the briefs on, and then you put the boxers on, just so nothing starts flying around.
Oh my gosh. That
and
is,
I was like,
is a great excerpt for this podcast.
Yeah.
Leanne, good evening.
Hey guys, it's Leanne, your patron from Sacramento. So Tom, I was wondering, are your rapping skills any better than Clark's? Thanks. Bye.
Can you rap, Clark? Tom?
I mean, no. I mean, there's There's some Run DMC songs or stuff that I remember. I can rap along with a song.
I'm looking at the transcript here. It's WRAPPING because Clark does a terrible job rapping papers.
Oh, I thought he was rapping. I'm sitting in the barn with all these bitches. Turns out they was all witches. Casting a spell. I'm in my box of briefs. Everybody look at me. I got to.
Queef.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't.
Well, I can't rap a present, just FYI.
I can't either. I'm terrible. You should see me on Christmas. Oh, Lord.
Everybody knows which ones I rap, that's for
Hi,
sure.
this is Moon Kent. I had a question for episode 8, Spell. In the commentary, Kristin mentions that she had the flu when filming this episode, and it made it extra hard to be a sexy witch when all she wanted to do was sleep. Do you guys remember any notable stories where you were sick and what you did about it? Thanks.
Yeah, I was on a plane, and my flight was late. I didn't get in till like 12, and I didn't get to my apartment till 2, and I had to film at 6:30 the next morning. And I had explosive diarrhea and vomiting on the plane. And I somehow, I made it to work. I was trying to get out of it, but I knew that if I got out of it, they'd have to push it down the schedule, would screw everything up. And that was the hardest day. Working when you're sick when you're doing anything is terrible. But when you have to look good and act and know your lines and you're sick, it sucks, man.
Well, there's so many distractions at any given time, and that's just a huge distraction. There was one time we were filming something, I forget what it was. It was like a Friday, and we were shooting in a church, and it was mostly Kristin and I had like 100-something degree temperature. I was like sweating, and she was like, "You should go home." I'm like, "I can't go home. If I go home, the work doesn't go away." And that weekend, I think I spent 3 days. The only thing I ate for 3 days were like Starbucks Frappuccinos because it was like this. It's all I could get down.
God almighty.
And
that's brutal.
Yeah, it was not fun.
No.
Hey, this is John from Seattle, Washington. So I had just turned 13 when this episode came out, and it was the only episode that when my parents saw the preview, they said, "Nope, you're not watching that." I didn't actually see this episode until a couple years later. What do you think prompted the shift toward more adult themes in season 4, which kind of comes up time and time again? Really appreciate all the work you're doing. Keep it up.
I didn't think it was that adult oriented. In fact, I thought it was at all, but it's funny you couldn't watch that. Meanwhile, my mom is making me watch Motel Hell at 8 years old.
Well, you got half naked Clark strung up. You got the, Lana acting this way. I could see where parents might be a little like, ready
a lot
for
of
that.
kissing, a lot of shirts off.
Well, I want to see the 15-second teaser that prompted that now, like that they're airing like between episodes of Buffy,
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see Clark tied up and Lana just about to kiss him, and then Martha walk into the barn. I wanted to see the look on Martha's.
Oh, God.
Hi, Tom, Michael, Ryan, and Bryce. This is Sazia from North Carolina. So I felt like I was having a fever dream while watching season 4's episode Spell. I want to know for Tom and Michael, did you all also have the same feeling while filming the episode as much as I did watching it? Loving the podcast so much. Thanks.
I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were saying before about you really just have to find a way to make it work. You got to commit to it, because if you don't commit to it, no one's going to watch it.
I don't know what a fever dream is.
It's when you hallucinate because you have such a high fever, you start to like hallucinate.
Oh. Yeah, I've never done that. Here's international folks. Sophie, we love you. Tom, based on you bringing the idea of Clark pleading to Chloe, was it important for you both to get involved during filming by bringing ideas? And were the directors generally open to that? And do you remember any particular scenes where they made changes based on your suggestions?
Not really. I've always kind of been of the mind that you should, if you have concerns about a scene, you need to handle them before you shoot the scene, or at least voice them. And, our production was always very open to, hey, you got an issue? Okay, let's change this. But once you get to set, it really becomes about blocking and just sort of being on the same page with everybody. I mean, it was a really well-made show.
I agree with you. I was doing this show and I was the executive producer, and one of the actors didn't want to do something, and we're shooting it. And finally, one of the other producers goes, "Can you talk to him?" And I said, "Sure." And I went up and I go, "Hey, David, listen. 2 months ago when we had a table read, it was in there. And unfortunately, now we're shooting. So if there was an issue, you should have honestly talked about it then. And now we're shooting, and it's it's the joke's there. I honestly think this is really funny, and we're not going to make you look like a dick. And so if I could, fine, I'll do it. And he did it.
Yeah, a lot of times actors don't want to do things because they feel like they're going to be embarrassed because it's their face on camera. And James Marshall was actually the one who said to me, he goes, you have to protect your actors, and you have to let them know that you're protecting them.
Yep. Because
then they can be free. But I got to bring up this story that you told me years ago about Dax, where he's like, listen, I'm making a movie. And if you want to be in the movie.
If you want to be in the movie that we're making, that's great. Otherwise, you're going to be in your own movie. And I go, oh.
And you won't be in the movie.
Right. Because I was just, I was confused. Like I was playing a certain way. And then he was like, but I want you to do it like this. And I go, oh, okay. So when you have when you get an offer and you don't audition, you have no idea what they want. So you go in and go, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And, it was one of those things where he's like, hey, here's what I want. And I go, oh. And so I had to be malleable. Yeah. I had to sort of, Kristen B, this is the only time I believe this series shows that scissors won't work to cut Clark's hair. How do you think he got a haircut before that point?
It takes pieces of like a shard of kryptonite and just sort of like.
Maybe his hair doesn't grow or doesn't get shorter. It just stays the same. I have no idea. Great question. Unanswerable. Rosenbaum rating system. All right, we're going to go to Tom first. Tom, Rosenbaum, what are you going to give rating?
I mean, I saw a lot of effort. I'm going to give it 1 rose.
Jeez.
It was,
Louise,
it was fine.
1. I'm going to give it a 1 too.
I'll give it a bomb.
I'm feeling generous.
I'm going to give it a bomb.
All right.
It's a bomb for me. And that's being generous. Death and save count.
Death and
0 dead, 1 save. Clark saves Jason. Did he though? Did he really save him or just untie him? He wasn't like in peril.
He caught him out the window.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And Jason saved Clark by releasing him from his bondage.
Yeah, but that's not really saving.
I don't know if Clark wanted to be saved. I think he was pretty content.
Through 8 episodes, 3 dead, 15 saved. Series 95 dead, 118 saved. 118 saved. Ryan's favorite scene. You have 3 written down?
I do.
All right, don't give us any hints or anything. Be very...
All right, I'm going to try to use as few words as possible.
Good.
All right.
Be very boring.
1, French fire. 2,
French fryer.
French fire.
What was that?
The cold open.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be economical with my words here.
French fryer.
French fire.
French fryer.
2, barn party.
Uh-huh.
And 3, cave showdown.
Jeez.
Oh.
All 3 cheesy scenes.
Can we pick which one's worse this time instead of which one's better?
I'm going to say...
Those were 3 scenes that were in this episode.
Oh, man. I got to go barn party because I think you probably laughed at it and you enjoyed it.
Jeez Louise, man.
French fryer.
I'm going to go... I'll go with that too, Tom.
Barn party.
Barn party,
Because at that point, I stopped resisting the absurd plot. I was like, okay, this is...
Moving on.
They committed, and I'm like, okay, here we are.
All right.
Here we are.
I thought you'd say something like that.
No
was,
blood.
Yeah, no. All right. All right. Look, that's it for the episode. Stick around next week as we unravel things and talk about season 4, episode 9, Bound. I want to thank our guest, KRISTIN KREUK, who is amazing. Thank you for that, Kristen. I love you. We love you. And let's take the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over on our socials and show support if you want to give back. I don't care if it's 50 cents to patreon.com/talkville. Support the podcast. Keep this thing going. We still got a lot of seasons left. Hopefully we could do that. If you want more information like merch from the show or a hotline number, you can find all that in the description. Also my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, the link tree, what cons Tom and I are doing, and all that jazz, Cameo and whatever. We really appreciate your support, and we're trying to make this podcast even better. And so thank you. And remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville. Who's that?
Rickman?
Alan Rickman? Wasn't? Did it sound like Rickman?
Sounded like Alan Rickman to me.
Sounded like James Bond.
How about always hold on to Smallville? Always hold on to Smallville. How about Kuna Matata. All right, guys. Thanks. All right. Well, we can't forget our top tiers. Their shout outs for every episode. They're so important to us. Patreon.com/talkville. Here we go. Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, Little Lisa, Thomas the Leaf Blower, Shane W, Sophie M, Betsy D, Abby P, Ray Harada, Fatima T, Karen Apple M, 99 more, Leilani N, Brett G, always hold on to Smallville, Estevan G, Garrett W, Bob K, Kimberly L, Tom N, Jason W, Osama A, Glenda the Good Witch, Parisho, and Lana rhymes with Banana W.
Wow. Nancy D, Brian G, Sarah W, YVR, Vancouver Grips, Anna M, Amanda R, Teddy127, Michael P, Ryan R, Jordan M, Randy B, Craig G, Heather and Greg. We're going to be in DC soon. Hope to see you again. I made Talkville say butts. Brian H, Eric K, Kristen B, Nanine W, Stephanie K, Darth Achilles Finky, Early is on time. Damn, who's that? Jeanette E, Deadvid, General Zod, Theodore, Big D, Doug R, Carlos C, Ken the Limerick Guy, Corey L, Mr. Home Arcade, Jesse C, and Claire M.
D. Brown, Karenera M, Jules M, Eldon Supremo, Leslie V, McBurts, Ginger Moose, Christoph S, Michelle M, Drew, Michael Kang doesn't blink, Sebastian F, the W, Dak Flando or Dak Fiondo. That's a cool name. Matthew and Lincoln B, the Coopers, Marion Louise L, CGO, Cindy C, Nikki L, Shannon Fofanin, Tina E, Matt Rick, Jen T, Randy S, Cassie B, Brad A, Felicia R, Danny L, JS, Rachel D, Gingerous Prime and Nate D. When you're rich, you aren't crazy, you're eccentric. Chicken Flower Sammy Sharman. Had to say it twice. Carrie Ann, Patrick R, the Alexander Castle, Daryl E, Charlene A, Lady L, Spicy Chicken, Jenny B, Anna B, Monica T, Thomas, my hall pass, Green
Cool.
G, Eric M, Jeffrey K, Tony K, Pip Kenobi.
I'm glad I didn't have to say that, but I will say Katya C, previously on Spubble, Geneva D, Matt C, D-Pro, Seagull, and Devin, Chadwick B, Chadwick Bozeman, rest in peace. Keith B, Charu.
No,
Nice
Sharu.
talking to
She
you.
was on the podcast.
Yeah,
Sharu.
Sharu. Yeah, even after talking to her, I messed up her name. I apologize. Major Paradox, Mark J, and the patron saint of Smallville. Thank you to all our new patrons.
Yes, thank you guys.
Well,
this is
there's a
awesome.
couple in
Thanks
there.
for joining. Can't wait to see more of you on the show. And I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. And watch the next episode. And we'll see you later.